let me finish.
Okay, well, I thought I had, but go ahead.
Okay, y'all, let's take turns and let each other finish.
Welcome to Let Me Finish, the podcast where three minds give their unfiltered and sometimes unpopular opinions on all the craziness going on in our lives and in this world. We're your hosts, Jillian,
Janice.
And Michael.
Settle in and let's take a deep dive.
Okay, we're back with another episode of Let Me Finish. I'm one of your hosts. I'm Janice.
I'm Jillian.
Okay, guys, so this week we want to jump right in because this week we're going to do something a little different than we've ever done. We've never done a movie review episode. So last week we had told you guys we went to go see Sinners, and so we watched it and we loved it. So we decided we wanted to do a movie review for our next episode. So today we're going to do a movie review just to give you guys a quick catch up on us and what we've been up to. This last week, I was taking medicine for my tooth. I went to the dentist, got all that taken care of. Tomorrow's my last appointment to get my filling replaced because they did successfully drill a hole through the crown and it did not break. So I'm going to do that. And then I celebrated one of my really good friends' birthday. We all went out to Common Table. The Common Table, remember that place? Yeah, so it was really fun. We went there, and then we went to this place called Echo in Addison, which I actually really love. They have like hookah. Definitely people that look like us were there mostly, and I like that. I was like, ooh, I need to come over here, honey.
Okay.
So I was like, okay, I might come chill up here a little bit more. So it's called Echo in Addison.
That's nice.
Yeah, ECKO. But anyways, so yeah, that was pretty much my week. Yesterday, I did not want to do anything, but because I go out one day a weekend, I can't do any more than that. So
You've tapped your
girl,
social limit.
That's it, honey. I can't. I cannot. I'm too young.
Yeah. So for me, work week, it's end of month, so it's like really brutal for me towards the end of the month. So like Friday
now.
Friday, and then this week is going to be absolute
hell.
Like, and yeah, just pretty much this week is really when things are going to be like, I'm going to be, every time I roll over in bed, I'm going to be like, do I want to go to work today?
Girl.
But I do. I end up going and I'm just like,
girl, I feel that.
I'm just waiting for the, the attitude. Cause I'm just at the end of the month is when we deal with mortgages. So it was just like, oh my God. Okay, fine, whatever. So I got to hype myself up to go. And then Friday, I was just, like I said, I was just drained and I stayed home. It was an at-home weekend as well. I finished.
I did watch a lot of documentaries.
Yeah, you did. And so I started a new book called Lights Out. It's like a dark romance novel.
Ooh, I like dark romance.
So
girl.
it's starting to get really good. So I'm just like,
girl,
okay,
give me my Black Dagger books back.
I'm sorry.
You know what? It's fine because I felt like I'm gonna need to reread soon, so it's fine.
Okay,
girl, don't worry about it.
Okay,
give my books.
Okay, all right. I'm sorry. So
you didn't actually mean it when you said you wanted to read them.
It's, you know what? Actually, after seeing Sinners, I may tap back into it after I finish the one I just started.
What did you say? By the time I go moving, Jillian, if that book ain't touched, it's coming with me.
Okay, all right. I promise you, I'll finish it. You only gave me like 2 books from that series.
Okay. Yeah. That's what I'm saying. They've been sitting there for months.
All right, I'm gonna read those. Those are gonna be my next on my list.
Okay.
So I did that, and then I watched. I was just like really into Netflix, and so I was watching some Korean movies, shows. That I'm just like, oh,
were
okay.
they dubbed?
One was dubbed in English, the other one I just read the subtitles.
That's wild. That's so crazy. I still don't understand how y'all be sitting here just reading subtitles and watching movies.
After a while, you just stop. Our mom does a lot of foreign. She's done Korean. She's done Nigerian. Nollywood movies, shows, and she's on the Korean.
And then shit that she don't understand. I'd be like, Mom, you just up here listening to all these shows.
I've seen her, and she's watched it so much that she
picks up on the words.
Picks up on the words, and actually she doesn't have to read as much. And it's like a daily soap opera that she reads. I can't remember what other country she comes from. It's
Turkish.
Yes, it's Turkish. Yes, you're correct. It's Turkish, and like she's watched it so much because it's what she does is really weird, because she says, I'm just like, how many episodes are there? And she's like, oh, it comes on every day like a soap opera. But what she does is that it initially airs with no subtitles, and she watches it without subtitles, and then they air it the next day with the subtitles.
That's funny.
Yeah. So she gets to experience it without the subtitles, and then the next day she kind of knows what's going on, because of course she's following along with the characters. And then after she sees the dub version the next day.
So now you're like that? That's how you watch?
When it comes to foreign language shows and films, as long as there's subtitles, I've always been comfortable listening in foreign language. There's a movie called Pan's Labyrinth that I absolutely love. It's in Spanish and it's dubbed. It has subtitles in English. It is such an amazing film that I did not care that it was in Spanish. It was just really, really, really good. And so it didn't really matter. So yeah, I did a couple of those. And then I watched Running Point, the new, what's her name? Blonde. Her mom is married to, like, forever, Goldie Hawn's daughter.
Kate Hudson.
Yes, thank you. Totally blanked on her name. It's a new show she has. They already greenlit a season 2. So I'm like, okay, let me go check this out. It was actually really good. And I was just like, I really liked it.
What was it called?
Running Point. So the premise of the show, it's kind of like a fictionalized version of the Los Angeles Lakers. And so,
I have seen that. I've seen the commercials for it.
You've seen this commercial. So I was just like,
so she's like the GM or something.
Yeah, her brother gets in an accident, and because he's on drugs, and he has to go to rehab. And while he's in rehab, she takes over as temporary president. She's not the GM. She's the president of the basketball team. And so it was just interesting, especially the way it ended. I'm just like, oh my God, I can't wait for season 2. So, and they've already greenlit it. So,
there you go.
Yeah, I'm ready. So it was pretty chill.
Alrighty. So yeah, I mean, diving right in, let's just get into the movie, y'all.
Yes.
Okay. Because for me, 10 out of 10.
For me too.
20 out of 10.
Like
30 out of 10. So, like, it's so good, y'all.
It's so good. Like the next day. So I have a friend that he is my absolute buddy when it comes to movies and television. Like, we can sit and just have these like long conversations about, it just so happens we like the same kind of sort of like the same movies and TV shows. Like, like when it comes to anyone who is familiar with Game of Thrones, they have the offshoot House of Dragon. So whenever that's out, every Monday we're like,
y'all talk about it.
We talk about it.
I do like my show people, like the ones that I like watch the same show. Sometimes I do my it's probably bad. Well, my one-on-ones, I have one-on-ones with all my reps, and I'm actually covering for another manager, and that other manager has this girl on his team, and she loves Bravo.
So you get to talk to her about that.
So we talked about Bravo a lot when we see each other, and so at the end of all of our one-on-ones right now, I'm like, okay, so what do you think about this episode?
That's awesome.
I love it, girl.
Yeah, you really get to see like to see how other people view the entertainment that you look at and be like, oh, I didn't think about it that way.
Yeah, and hearing other perspectives.
And we're just like, oh, and he's just like, and the funny thing is that when I watch certain shows, I'm just like, oh, with House of Dragon, we do The Last of Us, and I told him, I'm like, dude, did you see Sinners? And he goes, no, I haven't seen it. And I was just like,
what are you doing?
Purchase your ticket. When I tell you 10 out of 10, this is a masterpiece from Ryan Coogler.
Yeah, I think for me, it's just like he must have been thinking about this movie for so long, and he drew from so many you can tell from all this different inspiration for it, and he drew all of these inspirations. It just drew them all together in this perfectly packaged film.
Yes.
Like, it was art.
Yes.
It was really, truly art. I feel like just every piece. There's so many pieces of that movie, and I'm like, I have to go see it again because I am one of those types where I get very obsessive when it comes to something. I'm like, that it resonates with me. Like, I want to know everything about it. So I've been like diving deep, and I just want to know more and more. And I'm like, and if I go back again, I already know I'm gonna get more. So I'm just like, I mean, you guys, like, from it was funny, it was sad, it was gritty, it was
a lot of action packed.
It was jump spots, a little scary. I mean, it deep.
But the thing is that it was able to, it's scary as in you have a sense of dread, not necessarily
that's
a jump, like boo scare, like they're trying to get you to like,
I mean, I did definitely jump and scream. Yeah, I did.
But I'm used to watching, but I'm used to watching, I'm not saying I hate scary movies or horror movies. It's not my favorite genre of movies. Like, if it's done really well, you'll see me there.
And I hate it. I hate scary movies. I don't like them.
Yeah.
Like, I don't
wouldn't say hate. Like,
and I wouldn't say this is not. So if you're listening to this and you're wondering, should you go watch it? Because FYI, there is going to be spoilers moving forward. So if you haven't seen it, spoiler alert, stop right now. Go watch the film, come back and listen. But if you are wondering, oh, is this going to be scary? It's not. It's not scary like that. I'm like probably one of the scariest people when it comes to like movies and freaking myself out. Because again, I like overthink everything because I get obsessive about it. And then the obsession, like if I go too deep, I can always go to the point where it gets really scary. And then I'm like, I don't want to think about this. I don't want to think about this.
Yeah.
Like, and then I can't stop thinking about it. So that's why I say when I get scared because I can't stop thinking about it and all the different scenarios that could possibly happen. So with this, it's like scary. I agree. It's like a dread scary. It's like a damn, that's sinister. That's shit. Ooh shit, something happen.
Right.
Like, you know something's about to happen. So it's not like you weren't expecting that.
Right.
Yeah. But I did jump up and scream once or twice, and Jillian and Stacey were like, what are you doing? It's not that bad. I was like,
so yeah, if you were a scaredy cat, definitely go. I put it on the same level as like quote unquote scare as with Get Out. Even though they labeled Get Out a horror movie, it's like, I think, elevated horror, in the sense that it makes I think what makes it scary is just like, damn, he's like really talking about like real shit. Like, this is stuff that what's scary in real life. There's
also is vampirism. There is vampires in the movie.
No, I'm talking about Get Out.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
okay.
there's this, and I'm sorry, as far as maybe not literal, but like the symbolism that's in both.
Yes, I definitely think it has like
in both
Get
movies,
Out meets Django Unchained type energy.
Yes. That's a perfect analogy. Yes, absolutely. And so, like, whenever because I saw the trailer, I'm like, oh my God, this looks really good. And I text y'all, I'm like, anyone interested in seeing Sinners with me? And Janice is like, yeah, sure, why not?
I mean, it's Michael B. Jordan.
It's Michael B. Jordan. And then Stacey's like, let me go watch the trailer. And she's like, oh, okay, yeah, let's do it.
Yeah.
And so, so just to get back to like, as far as like Ryan Coogler, I've seen interviews where this concept and the idea of this movie has been 10 years in the making. So he's been working on this for the past 10 years. And with Ryan Coogler, like, you can tell that and this is like, I knew as far as his previous work that he does put a lot of time to research the topics that he's putting forward on the screen. You saw that with Black Panther and Wakanda Forever, and he hires the right people when it comes to costuming, hair design, cinematography. Everything is
because the casting, like, spot on.
Yes,
like you picked the perfect cast.
He what he does is that he has this vision and he takes his time to hire the best of the best when it comes to every aspect, the scoring, the music. Oh my God, it's every aspect. It totally immerses you in the world. So I absolutely love that about him, and that's what makes him a good director, good producer, good writer, because he takes the time to really think about the devil's in the details, and he is all about the details.
Yeah, I never realized how much I liked him I guess I never realized, I never really think about directors. I'm not gonna lie. And this whole entire conversation is making me think Michael, because he is like our movie guy, right? Jillian's also a big movie person. I'm like, cool. It's cool. Like, I like it. Cool. I like it. It's entertaining. But I never think about directors or cinematography. Like, I think about it sometimes if it's like something really catches me, and this was another time. It just really caught me, and I'm like, dang, I think I really... And then you kind of told me all these movies he had done. I was like, oh, I do like him. I didn't even realize, but man, his style is like spot on. And speaking of like him picking the right people, you know, the cast was just spot on, and I did not realize Ryan Coogler worked with Michael B. Jordan so many times.
Yes,
Fruitvale, are they
Black Panther and Creed?
Yeah, so I mean, if you really think about it, that's a lot of Michael B. Jordan's like his
really Ryan Coogler's worked with Michael B. Jordan the majority of his, like, as far as like movies that he's written. He has written and directed. Michael B. Jordan has he does not have, as far as a director, he does not have a very extensive
Ryan Coogler
resume. No, he doesn't.
Well, I think he's doing a very good job with what he's starting with.
Yes.
Like, dang, that's kind of scary then. Like, where do you go from here type thing, you know?
And that's the thing is like, I'm not worried about him, because I'm just like,
he seems to have
there's some people, you know, when some people are just destined to do something. He was destined. This was his, and he actually started out, he actually went to college playing football.
Crazy.
And on a football scholarship, and was actually playing football and was planning to go in a completely different direction. And he was in he said that he was in a writing class, and the teacher, he wrote something, and the teacher's like, are you sure? I can't remember what he was trying to go, what other career path he was into. He's just like, have you ever thought about writing and directing? Because getting into writing or writing screenplays.
I mean, yeah, like that creative part of his mind, like,
and so he had a decision and decided to go to film school, and went in a completely different direction because the teacher saw his talent and said, hey, I think you're really talented at this. Could be something that could be really good for you. And he took that chance.
Man, oh man, that professor she really did us a favor, didn't she?
Yeah.
So I want to talk about the characters, right? So the main actors I want to talk about, which the cast was phenomenal. I mean, there was Michael B. Jordan, Stack and Smoke, of course. You had Wonmi Musaku, I think is how you pronounce her name. She played Annie. Haley Steinfeld played Mary. There was Lee Ju Lee, who played Grace Chow. Miles Canton, Sammy. First role, by the way.
First major film role.
There is Jamie Lawson, which is Perlene. Omar Benson Miller, Cornbread. Delroy Lindo, Delta Slim. My God, that man acted his ass off in that movie.
Been an actor. He just... Yeah.
Everybody, I keep hearing people say like he's been one of the best actors of all time. So I never thought about it. I need to go back and look at his films. And then Jack O'Connell as Remick. But let's first talk about Michael B. Jordan, because I really just want to talk about the love interest and Michael B. Jordan, and then Sammy.
Well, let's talk about as far as Michael B. Jordan and his acting, how he brought two very distinct personalities to these two characters who are twins.
I felt like there were two different actors acting it.
Right. And even like when you were watching the movie and you got introduced to the characters, now the way you could distinct the two between the two characters is that one wore a
red. One wore red and one wore blue.
Yeah, mostly Smoke wore blue and Sack wore red. But then
the fedora.
Yeah, and the fedora hat. And then as the movie went on, because they were not together on screen that often, because in the beginning of the movie they're together, they make their deal and then they separate.
Right.
And then you see them separate and then they meet back up at the juke joint. And so you got to really know the characters and how he brought he brought two completely different people alive. That could not have been easy for him to do.
Well, he did a great job.
And he did it. Yes, he did an absolutely amazing job.
I want to point out that the actors on the set said that they could tell, like, he did such a good job of like portraying these characters, like they could feel who was on the set that day. It's Smoke today. Yeah. It's Stack today. And I think he does, like, Ryan Coogler does a great job with putting them in the colors he puts them in, right? You know, Stack is red, Smoke is blue. For me, Stack is the more lively one, the more, you know, in your face one. He's the mouthpiece.
He's the firecracker.
He's hot, right? He's just, and he's like, he leads with emotion. That's what he said. Watch him. He doesn't watch his own back. Like, cause you're going off impulse, like that red, that hotness, right? You're not thinking. And then there's the blue, which is like cool, calm demeanor, like
the protector.
Yes. I love how he separates them. You can see that Stack has more of the flashy with the teeth, with the hat, you know. Smoke is very more subdued. The hat is much more like, you know, lower class, not as like flashy. I just think they're so different as far as brothers.
But also, I think he made, and somebody pointed this out on TikTok, where I believe it was Straw Hat Goofy that pointed this out, that I don't think Smoke, other than maybe a couple scenes with Annie, ever smiled.
He only smiled once. Yeah. And it was when he was dancing with her in the juke joint.
Yeah. Because he was always the serious one. And I'm just like, I went back, I'm like.
And the only person he ever relaxed with was Annie.
Yeah. And so, and then Stack, you know, he was, like I said, because that's just the personality he used to portray him. And I was just like, man, like, if Michael B. Jordan, based on these performances, doesn't at least get nominated for an Oscar or a Golden Globe or SAG, and I'm just like,
he'll get nominated for something. I mean,
yeah,
the performance is too great.
Yeah,
I don't know if he'll win, because, you know,
I don't know if he'll win, because
when it comes to that stuff, it's so but I mean, the performance itself deserves a nomination for sure. And you know, I don't know what is coming out, but for me, this is the best movie of the year right now, best performance I've seen. So but with the brothers, you know, speaking of them having, there's two distinct personalities, I think he did another amazing job by adding two very distinct love interests.
Yes,
very different. Right. And I love how they still had a connection to even though they were very different.
Yes. And I think that was a very two very different relationships, and I think that was a decision made by Ryan Coogler, and to see Michael B. Jordan bring it to life with these two amazing actresses. You can see, like, because what was the first question we asked each other after the movie? Like, who would you be with, Smoke or Stack? And we all said Smoke. We all said Smoke, because we're just like, honestly, when I go back and look, I'm just like, yes, I want that kind of love.
Well, I think I think their love is the same. I think their love is both deep and like natural and raw, and just who they're visually just drawn to. What I think is the difference, and where, you know, so again, Smoke is the calm one, Stack is the fiery one, and the one that leads up with his like just emotion. I feel like that's why he's the one more suited. Because, I mean, if you think about it, they're twins. They grew up with her. Like, either one of them could have fell in love with her. The one that fell in love with her would be the more impulsive one. The one that's not thinking. The one that's not thinking about, you know, he is thinking ultimately, but you were the one that you wouldn't allow yourself to open that door. Smoke would never have allowed himself to open that door.
Right.
Whereas he went with somebody like Annie, who is more grounded, more rooted in the community, more rooted in who she is, like the culture, the nature. He's more grounded as a person. So, of course, he goes for a woman that's more grounded.
Right.
Instead of going with the woman where you're basically living in the class, because you can never be with her.
And you notice the difference between Annie and Mary. Both of them are women not to be messed with, but how they portrayed that, how Mary acted versus how Annie acted, is very different. You knew these were two women not to be played with, but how they acted, where she said, you know, Annie sat in the cut and she did what she, you know, observing and didn't really, but, you know, Mary, you know, when they were at the train station and she taled about,
yeah,
when he was just like, did I tell you to leave me alone?
From me? He was like, you stick your tongue in my coos. I said,
whoop.
She's like, I thought you forgot. I thought you might have changed your mind. But you realize that both of them, when they both approached both of those women, or when they had the interaction, it was like negative at first and like, what the hell? Like, you left me in, because, shit, Annie was damn near, she done told him to back the hell up.
Yep. She pulled out that
she said, back up.
That razor. She pulled out the razor.
Yeah.
But then, when she was
they're
like,
both not to be messed with.
Yeah, nobody said, but they claim what they want, though, because Annie claimed, he goes, your buddy didn't forget about me. Shit. I was just like, shit, Annie.
Annie said, I could hold back, honey, and I wouldn't have been able to either. Annie. Okay.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Annie. Yeah. So, yeah, I just think it's crazy, like, that he picked the perfect cast for that. And I love, and I keep hearing, just gonna put it out there, everybody talking about when me and her body type. I'm like, no, that is the body type that a man like Soap would have wanted, honey. That's all woman. And he loved him some Annie.
Yes.
So
through and through.
Around.
Through
like,
and through.
I was like, I love seeing that shit. I was loving it.
Yeah.
I was like, put your face in them. Okay.
Yeah. When he rested, he didn't put it, he just rested it on top of her chest, and he just embraced him, that he was able to be vulnerable in the way that he, like I said, he's not with anyone else, anybody else. And then like, the first scene when they're at the truck and the snake, when they lift up the thing and the snake comes out and they have to kill the snake, I'm like, ooh, that's a bad omen.
And you saw who killed the snake?
Yes.
Smoke.
It was Smoke.
The protector. And
it's funny because if we're going to talk about like stuff that happened in the movie, so a lot of people have been like analyzing like the final scene with the KKK, and people are saying,
I want to come to that.
You're going to wait?
Well, I want to come to it when we talk about the history part of it and the symbolism of it all. Because I do want to I don't want to miss talking about Sammy.
No, I don't want to miss. We're not going to miss that, but I just find it funny that I'm just like, I feel like people have a wrong take about that final scene. And my thing was that Smoke and Stack knew whether this stuff that happened with the vampires happened or not, the KKK was going to come anyways and kill everyone there.
They knew
because that was the scam that they were running. Because if you realize, whenever they go into the juke joint, and they're like, okay, we have the money, we're going to pay you cash. We want everything, the juke joint and the land. And he's just like, and he goes,
and you warned him?
Yes.
And he did it on purpose?
They went into the actual juke joint, and he's just like, have y'all cleaned this floor? And he's like, yeah, we cleaned it. And he goes, when's the last time what was on this floor? It was blood.
Oh, because it was a kill floor.
Yeah. But
Remick had told us, the audience, that, but you're saying that the brothers already knew.
No, they already knew, because the blood on the floor. And I'm like, yeah, no, it wasn't. Because they would. That's the scam they were running. They will sell it to black people and come back the next day and kill them, take their money, and.
But really, that's why they would always want to make so much money the first night.
Yes.
Oh.
So, and that's why he had those, when he goes, oh, get the guns in the trunk. It's because they had kept those guns in the trunk of the car.
Because they always did that.
They always planned whenever the KKK came back, they were planning on killing them.
That was the scam. That's how they got all that money.
No, not. I'm talking about, that's what the KKK guy was doing over and over again, was that he would sell it to,
I knew that.
What white guy would ever sell it to you? And it's just like, that's a scam they're running. They would get black people thinking they could own the place, get their money, and come back and kill them the next day.
Are you saying that Smoke and Stack was running that scam? So
no.
Oh,
the KKK guy was running the scam. Well, Smoke and Stack got the money because they robbed the Irish and the Italian mob up in Chicago.
Okay. I thought that's what you were saying. I was like, oh, Smoke and Stack knew, but they
no.
Okay.
Yeah, because
he really did get warned by Remick.
Yeah. No, I don't think I think
Remick's the one that told him that.
But I think they already knew it, because whenever they saw the blood on the floor, I think they already knew, and he would remember.
I think when he made the warning saying, if we catch you on our land, we're gonna shoot you or whatever. Like, he made sure to say it twice. He made sure to reiterate it.
Yes, he said, we'll kill every last one of you and your KKK buddies, brothers. If they step 1 foot on our land, we are going to kill every last one of you. So they already knew.
Yeah,
that what they were up to. So I don't think it wasn't something that what Remick told them wasn't news to them. They already knew that.
No.
Yeah.
Well, you probably didn't think he did. So, but
yeah.
Okay, and so the last person we wanted to talk about really quick. I mean, again, there's amazing performances. definitely honorary mention to Delta Slim, Delroy Lindo. He did an amazing job. Which is even like putting out there like the pain and like the sorrow with like his drunkenness, and like that he would take more. He would rather get drunk than get money. Like that's what ended up getting him to the Duke joint that night.
But you know
what?
But
it's because he wants to drown his
sorrows.
His sorrows.
Remember,
he just had the story with the boy who was lynched, and
that was his brother that he was talking about that got lynched,
and you felt it,
and you realize when he was talking about, you know, you could hear in the background when the mob, you know, came down on the brother, strung him up, and you can hear the rope,
and the snap
of the rope whenever he was hung in the background. That just shows you the scoring is just.
Well, I think, and it's showing you that this is what is playing in Slim's head, and that's when he starts humming, and that's when he starts to hum, but it's like a groan. He's groaning, and then the groan turns into a hum, and then the hum turns into a song, and that's when he's like, Sammy, you got a guitar in your hand, don't you? And that's like what they were saying. That's blues. That is what the blues is.
You get that beautiful music from the pain.
Right. Yeah. Right. That's the whole one. That's
absolutely
why we call it the devil's music and all this stuff. So, so that's really just, we wanted to talk about the characters and just all of the connections I feel like there are between them, because I mean, there is also Grace. Not Grace. Was that Grace.
The Asian lady.
Okay. So, as we're talking, let's talk about characters, because I have a theory on the 7 deadly sins and the characters.
Okay, all right.
And I do think, I don't know, and it makes you go and wonder, did Ryan Coogler think of this stuff? Because it just matches up too well.
I think he did. I don't think this man does anything
there
by
was
mistake.
Anything that he didn't think about. Yeah, I think everything was thought of to a T. It wasn't just like, oh yeah, let's just put this guy, let's call him Cornbread. I think there's a meaning behind it.
Yeah.
Slim. I think there's a meaning behind why he called him Slim. Yeah, all of it. Okay, so 7 deadly sins, right? So the theory is, you know, all the characters represent a 7 deadly sin. One, the first one being Sammy, which is sloth. And the thing about it is like, you think about sloth as just outward laziness, but in a biblical term, sloth is about rejecting what the Lord is bestowed on you. And so it's like, because he kept neglecting his talent and using it not for God, which is what his dad keeps warning him about. Right. Pearline, she's obviously lust, right? Because then she's the one that, I mean, she's a married woman. She
is Mary.
Went out there for, I mean, Mary, they say that Mary is she in there too. I mean, but Pearline is like, I feel like the definition, and like, she's also the one, like this singer and the siren almost. Yeah. And she's like calling Sammy to her, honey. Yeah. Yeah. And then, you know, when he loves her singing. And she's like a siren. Sirens are. Yeah. That's a
boy, but Smoke almost gave her 2 to the dome whenever she was like, I don't like garlic. What do you mean?
Pearline almost got butt.
Ooh, she almost bought the farm.
But I was thinking, Pearline, eat the garlic, girl.
I don't care if you don't like it. Just
girl,
eat it.
We're in a life in that situation. Do you want this gun in your head? Yeah. Or this bullet? Like, come on.
When Smoke hit Preacher Boy in the mouth and be like, boy, shut up.
I forget.
Yeah. Whenever he was just like, man, he don't raise a gun at her. She cool. And
oh
he's like,
yeah, shut up.
Like,
yeah,
shut
you
up.
ain't running shit around here, sing me. Yeah. Okay. Grace, pride, and we can come back and talk about it. But yeah, for me, Grace is pride, and I think you know why.
Tell me.
For me, she's pride because she put her pride and her truth above everybody else's in that juke joint. She ended up being the one that called everybody in. Her family, her pride, a pride in animal terms is a family. Your family was above everything else. And when your husband was starting or your daughter was starting, it didn't matter who was in. Because at the end of the day, she was not going to be able to save her daughter. No. And you couldn't have saved your husband because he was already gone. Yeah. And I'm like, as soon as you already know, like, you're not going to get to your daughter before they turn you. So what was your end game there?
There was too many of them, because just imagine, because everyone, when the juke joint emptied out, every single person was turned.
They kicked everybody out. I mean, and everyone was turned. There might be 1 or 2 of them they missed. I'm like, well, they got enough of them.
Yeah. You were clearly outnumbered. So there was no way that
Yeah, I'm just like, you already know that the safest way for you guys to be is to stay here. Oh, and I guess they knew where the daughter lived
because he was able to get in the husband's mind. But at the end of the day, Grace, it was just like what you did was you took your safety, what you wanted, and screw everyone else. Like, it's not like everyone else didn't have family and wasn't thinking things through. I'm like, we need to make it through the night. And it was just like, it's vampires. So we all know that Annie was telling me, hey, this is what's,
and a part of you, because for a second, I was like on her side, because she was just like, what are we going to do? Just sit there and let them just go turn the whole entire town into vampires when we can stop them right now? And they started getting things ready. I was like, okay, I'm with her. But when she called him in, I'm like, well, wasn't smart.
But she wasn't thinking, because I'm like, if they really wanted to turn the whole town,
they would already
did that. They already left the juke joint and left. Why?
If they were just looking for blood. If they were just only ruled by their need for blood, because there's free blood out here.
Because the whole point was they were there for Sammy. Because they wanted his
he eventually asked him for the trade.
Yeah. That's all they really wanted. So the town, I don't think the town was ever really in danger. All they wanted was Sammy. If you had pushed Sammy out, girl, I would have.
He offered him. He said, give me him and everybody else can live.
Go. Yeah. And I was just like, and then for her, as soon as she opened her mouth, I'm like, bitch, why?
I was thinking, I really thought she's gonna have our back, and then I was like, this hoe. So yeah, she's pride.
Yeah.
Smoke is wrath.
Yes.
Which, vengeance, and that's what he's mostly ruled by. And especially at the end, I mean, at the end of the day, he could have ran off with Sammy. He didn't. He stayed and killed them folks.
He's the one that killed the dad that was abusing Stack.
And he was always the one that had their back. Like, he's the one that, even when he shot the guy, and he was just like, hey, you can't try and rob the smoke stack smoke without leaving without a limp.
Smokestack twins, yeah.
Without leaving without at least a limp. Stack is greed, right? Because, I mean, just money at all costs. Money. Remick is envy, because he envied really Sammy's music. He wanted, because he said it could open and bring his ancestors to him. And then Slim is gluttony. Yeah. Yeah. So I was like, okay, I thought it really matched up when everything, because it was coming up everywhere, and I was like, yeah, that's probably true. Yeah, and I agree with it when I thought about it.
Yeah. God, there's so many layers to this.
So many layers. Okay, and so that is our just conspiracy theory part of it, really. But the history part is the part that I think you can dig the deepest into. So we're gonna just dig on deep into this history. So the first part of the history is the Jim Crow. Like many people, I agree. I thought it was depicted very well. I don't think a lot of
sharecropping, the fact with the Grace and her husband, the fact that they had, you notice they had one side of the street, they had a store.
One was for blacks, one was for
coloreds
whites.
only, and one was for whites only, which is something that.
Did you notice the symbolism with Grace crossing from one side of the street to the other? I didn't think about it till after when I read stuff, and I was like, that's so true. It's so, and the way they kind of zoomed in, the way he zoomed in on her as she's crossing, and it's almost like you can hear it's like calm on one side, and then it gets immediately loud on the other side.
I don't recall that.
Yeah, I feel like it. Yeah, it's like it's quiet. Mom, they need you. And as she gets to the like where her husband is, it's louder, a little bit more boisterous, and all of that. And then she immediately is like, I feel like she goes from like this sweet, innocent lady, because she's all quiet on the other side, which we don't get to see a lot of her. And then she's just like, you can tell immediately she's the one running the show with the money.
Right.
I was like, huh.
Yeah, because I feel like the symbolism, them going across the street and going, is the fact that because they're of Asian descent, in Jim Crow, they were able to float between the two worlds. Not fully, I don't think when it comes to the world, of course, never fully accepted.
No, but you're
the white
tolerated.
World, but you're tolerated, and then she was able to flit in between the two races. That's something that was. They said that as a part of history that, you know, a lot of Asians were able to.
Well, they did.
That.
They did come to the communities, and well, and I think there is a lot of negative history and blood sometimes between the Asian community and the Black community, and and sometimes with the placement inside those Black communities, you know, take like you'll receive the money, you'll make charge for the services, but not respecting the people that are giving you the money.
But I mean, I think that all comes down to white supremacy is just like this idea, and I think this is any race, whether it's Asian or if it's people of Latin or Hispanic descent. There's this illusion of being closer than Black people to whiteness, and thus you feel elevated. And not saying that you're accepted by the white community, you are, but maybe there's a hierarchy almost, right, even amongst people of color. So whether that's so
they really have their own history as well, and of oppression as well. But I think again the difference is like when we're in those spaces together, we're good, and that's what I think what happened for me with Grace is you can see that Grace is perfectly willing to be there for business, perfectly willing there to have a good time, but the moment things hit the fan, hey, we're not here for this is not for us, let's go. She was quick. There was no blinking of an eye. It was quick.
When it was time to fight, she was, this all of a sudden this has nothing to do with me. Let's go.
That's what she said. She said that to her husband, which is why she sent him out there with the car, which was, and she ended up getting her husband killed. Yeah. Because as soon as the shit hit the fan, when you knew there was a threat, you still were like, hey, we came here to help with this party. That's it. And again, it's business. It's definitely not personal. It felt that way with Grace, and I felt like that's a part of the symbolism with, I think, the history with the communities, for sure.
Absolutely.
And then the other part of that is Remick and his Irish descent, which a lot of people I don't think caught the first time they watched it, or at least not until they went back and looked at it. But yeah, the Irish have a very strong history within the Jim Crow times, where again they also were colonized and infiltrated and then brought here. And then there was a time where the Irishmen were just
not
as
considered
just as
they weren't considered white
as Black people, and they were treated they treated them as such. They did enslave them and do those same things and kill.
Not in. Let's go back and correct that. So as far as the colonization, they know what it's like because that's what the British did to them. So you know, suppressing their language, their religion,
and they fled,
taking their land. They fled here, and then of course when they applied here, you know, they were treated. You know, they weren't considered quote unquote white because this is a made up thing. So Italians too were not considered.
It was
white.
considered it was Anglo Caucasian or something? No, it was a specific type of Caucasian, and because they were Irishmen, they were not considered white in the sense that we think of white today. Right. And so, but obviously they're white presenting. Right. So they were able to, over a course of a very short time, assimilate and now remove this layer and be accepted. And so I think when Remick is talking to them, he's talking about, because remember, Remick is much older. This is 1930. He's much older. So he talks about to Sammy, he said, I know that prayer. That's the same prayer the Englishmen said when they took my family, and it leaves me comfort.
It took my land. Yeah.
It took my land, but it still comforts me. Yeah. So he was a part of that.
But when we're talking about symbolism and as far as history, can we talk about the fact that when it comes to religion and white supremacy and how closely related those things are? Because I think a lot of the symbolism was like, okay, Christianity is the religion of your oppressors, and they use that to control you. And I felt like that's what Remick was trying to tell him. He's just like, yeah, they use that shit on us too, to try and control us and oppress us.
Oh yeah.
So there's that, and then
I actually,
yeah, and then when Sammy went back to the church after everything went down that night, and he was holding on to the guitar, and I think the symbolism, when the dad says, Sammy, are you willing to, give this all up for God and let the guitar go, and he didn't, and he
almost did too, and I was like, dang.
And what he did was he decided to lean into his talent and his gift. And I'm gonna find my own way, because I feel like whole point of when he was at the juke joint, he was singing the song, and you start seeing the ancestors come in, and you says, hey, this connects you not only to the past but to the future, and you saw the different forms of music, even with the Chinese dancers coming through, and we're just like, we're all connected.
Yes, I do feel like that was connected.
And they're just like and when Slim was talking about the blues, and then that's what the blues is, I felt like the blues and his music was
bring
his new
everybody
religion
together.
Yeah, I feel like that was it. He was just like,
so interesting you say that, because I actually want to talk about a theory I did see on TikTok, which they say that, I mean, it's like a fan theory, right? That at the end when Sammy's singing This Little Light of Mine, the song This Little Light of Mine is about, most like biblically it's about like having a light in darkness and letting it grow. So he's singing that song, but the theory is that he's actually in that moment selling his soul to the devil.
Yeah, I've heard that theory, and I don't buy it.
There is a connection. Do you not? So you don't think about the Robert Johnson connection at all? Because Ryan Coogler does talk about that being an inspiration for the movie.
Inspiration in the sense
as
that
far as meeting at the four crossroads.
No, I think meeting at the crossroads. I think that was the conflict between Sammy when they were in the water and they were singing saying the Lord's Prayer, and I think that was more the confrontation between Sammy and Remick, not necessarily that he's literally selling his soul to the devil. The devil, I feel, was the vampire, was Remick. That's what I think. But this whole idea, like, Sammy had the talent.
Well, time out, because did you notice at the end that that when you see that Sammy's in the mirror? Or
I don't.
Sammy's not in the mirror.
I understand that, but I feel like it's just the angle. I don't think it was.
You don't think that Ryan would have noticed that?
No, because I was thinking that if he had sold his soul, I don't think he would have been aging as well, and he's clearly dying too.
He did say, "I can smell it on you.
I can smell it. I can tell that you're dying.
You're close."
So I just think it was just it's an interesting theory, but I don't buy it, because I just feel like it was just the angle of where the mirror was versus where they were sitting at the bar, and the camera angle, not necessarily saying that Sammy sold his soul.
I will say that made it a little scarier for me, so I did not like that theory. I was like, ew, I don't like that.
I don't think,
because I felt like I was like, well, why would you make it seem like music is evil? Like, it's or not. That's what I was thinking, and I felt like it was more so there is another way.
Yeah. And here's the thing, and that's why I reject the idea of Sammy selling his soul for the music.
Like, okay, yes, there is dark, almost like it's like, yes, there is darkness. Yes, these things can happen, but at the end of the day, the music's not to blame for that. Right. It's something that happened. In fact, the music ended up saving him, because the guitar is what ended up stopping Remick.
Yeah.
So music actually saved him.
Here's what my theory is that music, I think Sammy did was choose a new religion. His music was his new religion. Instead of Christianity and, following in his father's footsteps, being a preacher and, devoting himself to God and the church, he devoted himself to music. I just honestly, I feel like what he did was he chose music as his new religion because of the way it connected him to his ancestors. Okay. That's what I felt.
Yeah.
What that meant with him choosing music over the church.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. Well, I actually love what you said better before that too. So I'm going to go with that. I'm going to, yeah, I like that theory better. I didn't like the whole he was selling his soul. I was like, ew, that's so creepy if he's sitting there singing and staring at, ew. I was like, I don't like that. But there was like three main things I wanted to talk about, because there was three things that I was like, okay, this is what I feel like is my takeaway. Because for me, I think Ryan Coogler's whole overall arc of this movie, I feel like he chose vampires for a reason.
Oh yeah.
And I feel like he chose the time period he chose for a reason. And I think even even like Stacey, how she actually talked about how, oh my God, this buildup is like taking forever. And by the time the buildup happens, it's all so necessary. And I think they actually point out that in the movie where he was just like, where he was like, hey, was that the best day of, like, that was the best day of my life? And he goes, was it yours? And he was like, yeah. And then it flashes back and it shows everybody getting ready for this event, laughing. Like they were having and then dancing that night,
playing the card games,
with the women that they want, doing what they love, And I feel having like fun. It shows you that day needed to happen to show you like the culture that I feel like is Black culture, and it showed you even in the worst of times that it was, this was the type of joy that could be had,
because that was probably just based on like being sharecroppers. That was probably their one night of the week that they get to let loose off. And have off and be around their friends and family and really truly not have the burden of the everyday day-to-day life that they have to live
and
under.
I don't think it's not lost on me that it's vampires that are coming for them, and vampires essentially like suck your blood and steal your soul, and I feel like he almost made a symbolism of the vampirism that is on Black culture. It's crazy because I was just like, wow, because it could not have been rooted in any more Black culture, that movie, and vampires are a symbolism of sucking and taking.
I think the fact that, and I think it also symbolizes that they
tried to relate to you too. They were like, yeah, no, we're the same. Come over here. Let me show you it is better over here. We can all be one. Just give me your talent and then we'll all be accepted.
Yeah. And it's funny because especially when you notice when they were singing the song in front of
the Irish song,
and they were singing, the three people, the three vampires were singing, and they were just like, they
were like, what the hell,
Stack, well, like
you're in there, we want to come in there and partake in that, and then it's
let
like them in, don't let them in, they gonna suck it all.
They love our culture and they love who what we do, but they don't love the people who create the culture.
Not at all, and they do try to take it as their own.
They take it and they water it down to make it appetizing to them, and then all of a sudden when it's Black women with big booties, it's, oh my God, that's so grotesque. Like Sir Mix-a-Lot, Baby Got Back, and you have the white girls in the beginning of the song.
But, ooh, Yummy Yum is fine.
And then when all of a sudden when Kim Kardashian is injecting her butt and making her butt big, and everybody's doing BBLs, oh, now it's cool. So when it was Black women, it was ghetto. When white people do it, it's avant-garde. It's sexy. It's this, that, and the third. And it's just like, you love our culture, but you don't love the people.
Right. And then it's also showing that like they had a choice. Let me in. And you notice how he says, let me in. Because let me in is a symbol for a lot of different things, not just welcome somebody into your home. If you notice it, we even watched that movie called Let Me In, because it's like inviting evil into you. And it's, again, they're saying, hey, let me in. Like, we're just trying to sing some songs. Don't invite that evil into your home.
And also, I think Ryan Coogler is making symbolism.
Not saying that. I'm just saying in general. Don't let bad things into your life. But I also think
Ryan Coogler is trying to set the, hey, Black people, don't be so quick to invite people to the cookout. Anybody into the cookout.
Just because they're just hit the table. Takeaway. So I think that was my biggest takeaway. I feel like that's what that movie was symbolizing. I hate to if it might sound bad, but I think that's what it was.
I
trying
think
to say
about the culture vultures.
And it's just showing you that they were building something so beautiful, and it was just taken away by evil, like that.
It's funny when we're talking about, because I think he's trying to have a message about culture vultures. But you remember when they were at the house, when the Native Americans came up to the house and be like, hey, you shouldn't let this person in, we're hunting this person, and she's like, no, there's nobody here. And when the Native Americans drive away, the three vultures drop down on the top of the roof, and then the vultures were actually circling around.
I remember I kept saying, what's up with those vultures? And I noticed birds everywhere. I'm like, what's up with all these birds?
Right, exactly. So I think at the end, honestly, yeah, they're literal vultures, and they were coming there, and like I said, the whole point of why Remick was there is because Sammy had pierced that veil, and to take his talent and suck his talent away from him for his own purposes. See that,
but I think that Remick would have come anyways, but I think he drew him to the juke joint because of the music.
Yes,
he would have come either way. I think he just got drawn to the juke joint. Because he fell from the sky and was close by.
Because the Native Americans were hunting him.
Well, we technically don't know. We know that the Native Americans were hunting him. We just don't know exactly where he fell from.
I just thought
because he was burning.
Yeah, I think they just caught him out, with the sun. I don't know how they.
We don't know. That's we don't know. We don't know where Remick came from. We just know. Yes, he is being hunted, but he fell from the sky.
So whenever back to the juke joint where she's like, okay, there's something wrong with you guys. Forget it. I don't want anything. You saw Remick go up in the air and assuming landed in front of Mary and bit her.
Right.
So he can go up pretty, far up to be able to leap and come and land wherever. Because we just saw him like all of a sudden shoot up in the air.
I see what you're saying. But he would still be in daylight.
Honestly, because we didn't see.
I mean, we won't know.
Yeah, we won't know because we don't see. We just see him come into the screen. He goes to the door.
Oh, I wanted to quickly, then we're gonna let y'all go. I know this is a long review, which I would think that people want to hear about it because that's how obsessed I am with it. But Annie and her the voodoo doll, and saving her man Smoke. I was like, she's
voodoo doll.
Her I forget what they called it. It was
the mojo bag.
Mojo bag. Yeah.
I'm like voodoo doll.
I mean, that's what it seemed like.
It was a mojo bag. Yeah.
It was a mojo bag, and it was protecting him. I thought that was super beautiful. Yeah. Especially because you could tell like her love for him was stronger than his brother's.
Yeah.
Like,
because you remember whenever he was
his brother tried to bite him and it stopped him,
and the mojo bag kind of propelled.
And you could tell like he knew if he took this off, he would go with his
family.
Yeah, his family. So, yeah, I thought that. I mean, it ended so beautifully, but man, chef's kiss when he took out them KKK people. I was like, yeah. Get off.
And then he got shot.
And then
and he
saw his
like,
baby.
He's like, Elijah. And then you notice that when she said that Elijah, you can hold a baby, she didn't call him Smoke. She called him Elijah, his real name.
Aww.
And I'm just like, oh my God. And he's just like, you can hold the baby if you play.
Aww, yeah. And actually, so they ended up together with their baby. And technically, Stack and Mary were able to end up together. And technically, that's the only way they could have been together.
Yes.
Otherwise, there was no other way. So it actually ended up happy for both twins. Technically, I mean, yes, she died, but their baby was already gone, so they want to be with their baby.
Yeah.
So
I think it ended the way, because as soon as Mary killed Stack, I think it was just that was the only way they could have a happy ending. Was when Mary, because Smoke was holding Stack in his arms while he died.
Right.
When Mary bit him, and so
Smoke couldn't have stayed.
Yeah.
He lost his woman and his baby and his brother. There's nothing left.
Yeah,
I get it.
Yeah.
So, but again, 10 out of 10.
Go see it. If you haven't seen it, go and see it.
I mean, I hope you haven't listened this long if you haven't seen it. But some people like spoilers, but if you have seen it, go see it again.
Yes, absolutely.
Because I plan to watch it again. I plan to give them all my little coins. And I think they got me back into movies.
Even if you haven't seen it and you watch this to the end, I feel like this is the kind of movie where even if I told you everything that happened in the movie, I don't think we can do it justice. You have to see it. You have to see it.
Because that's what I'm saying. I am a kind of person, I don't mind listening to spoilers, so some people might not mind. And so that's what I'm saying. Like, yes, I still think there are plenty of things that we're missing. So, and we just spoke for almost an hour about it. So there's things. So go watch it. Chef's kiss, cast,
cinematography, everything was flawless,
spot on.
Yeah,
congratulations to everybody that partook in that movie.
Yeah, and actually the numbers just came out that between week 1 and week 2 they only had a 6% drop in sales, or as far as ticket sales, which is in the past decade. That's probably one of the smallest drops from week 1 to week 2 for a movie. So they were thinking, okay, typically movies between their first and second week of their runs at the movie theaters usually have over 50% drop the following week. And for them to only be 6%, because I'm like, honestly, 6% drop. I think they made 48 last week, and they made 45 if you can check my numbers, but they made 45 this past weekend. And it's one of those things where word of mouth, because like I said, I told somebody, hey, you have got to, this seems like the kind of movie
every person
you would love.
and
I feel like you're going to feel like the way I do, 10 out of 10. And in fact, when I went to work today and I talked to him about it, he goes, yeah, you were right. 10 out of 10 flawless.
I tell everybody, hey, if you've seen Sinners, go watch it.
So if you haven't seen it yet, go watch it. If you've seen it, go watch it again. And if you loved it, and I feel like everyone will love it, get someone else to go with you. Because it's one of those things where it's like it's an experience that everyone should have. Because I feel like, it's kind of like, Endgame with Avengers Endgame. I remember when Titanic came out, how that was just like so big, and it was just like
Batman, it's one of those
Batman, Dark Knight. It was just those are just pivotal, just movies that are mental impact, and that's what this is. And I'm just like,
I agree.
So
definitely
go
agree.
see it,
y'all. Anyway, so we're gonna get out of here, let you guys have the rest of your week, enjoy, and we will talk to you guys next week. Bye. And that's a wrap on the latest episode of Let Me Finish. Thank you guys for joining us for another week and listening to the latest episode. Don't forget, go like, share, and subscribe on your favorite platforms. And you guys can also follow us and see us on different platforms. I am on Instagram, and that's going to be Uniquely Janice. And then I'll also be on TikTok, Janice H, GENICEH. Michael, where can they find you?
I'm only on Instagram, and it's Kasra Salimi. And by Kasra Salimi, I mean Kasra Writes, because I changed it and I just forgot. So it's KASRA Writes, WRITES.
Yes. Jillian, where can we find you?
Instagram as well, and it's New Jillian Who Dis.
New Jillian Who Dis. All right. Well, we will talk to you guys later. Bye.
Bye.